Ladies and gentlemen, I'll be taking this 40 USD account to over 600 USD in this video, and I'll be covering a few setups, so make sure to stick around to learn how you can flip your own account as well. Now, before going anywhere further, I want to warn you guys about scammers in Deriv P2P. The client I was working with here got his account hacked by a P2P trader while he was transferring the funds to me. The scammer managed to enter into his account, and as I record, the scammer has withdrawn about 300 USD from my client's account. I can cover all the details on how he managed to do so, but my client claims the scammer sent him a link, and after he clicked on the link, the scammer managed to get his Deriv account login details, and from there it's been hell. The scammer managed to grab some of the funds via P2P. It's a complicated issue. If you want more information, just hit me up. And if you have experienced something of this sort via P2P or any other way, if you have experienced any scamming that you think I have to tell other people or warn other people about, just hit me up. I might end up dedicating a video just to cover how these scammers operate and how we can avoid this. So now let's get into the video. Maybe let's get this video to like 150 likes. That would do. So to kickstart our analysis, we start off on the daily time frame, and on the daily chart what we can see is the candles here are a little bit choppy, but I'm certain I'm able to read the price here. So the first sign that we see is price made a wipe below that low, and it launched up to break structure above that high. Now the break of structure, you can tell that there's a huge candle when it was breaking structure, and that huge candle is an imbalance in the market, so price has to fill it, and price filled it and then hit the daily order block. From there, price has been reacting up, or it has been moving a bit up. Like you can tell now price is shifting. It's in a buy institutional order flow. So on the 1 hour chart, what we see is price went down to break structure below there while it hit the daily order block. After it hit the daily order block, it shot up to break another high, to break structure above another high, and it returned back into the range. So when it returned back into the range, what we get to see is that price wiped the low inside the range, and it continued our buy by breaking structure above that high. And now I've covered the buy scenario. You can see that right now we're in a buy move. It's a simple buy model that I've shown you guys, but I want you to see the sell that I am looking at right now, because we're going to be taking a sell. So the sell happened because price shot up there and then it wiped above that high. So this wipe, it's, if you have watched ICT videos, he calls it turtle soup. So the turtle soup here means price goes above the high, it grabs liquidity and then drops back into the range immediately, like far into the range. So before it wiped, it did a stop hand above that high, and then it wiped that other high. So it did a change of character again, and then it returned back to an order block. But on the 4 hour, what we get to see is when it returned back, it filled the fair value gap, and then it continued the move down to break structure below that low. So we're still inside a buy. We're still inside the buy. That's why price sort of had to drop back down and respected the rejection block. So you see that rejection block, price tapped there, and then it launched up. You can see that it went up to form another wipe. So this is another turtle soup. You can see that it wiped before, and then it went back into the range. Now it wiped again. So we're going to be trying to capitalize the sell from here, the sell downwards. We're still in a buy. So what price did is broke structure, and then it wiped above, and it made a market structure shift. So this is our chance to enter the sell inside the buy. I don't want you guys to forget that we're still inside a buy. We're still inside the buy. The market is going to drop, is still shooting like up, but what you see is price hit the 30-minute order block, and I'm going to be trying to sell from that 30-minute order block. So I'm late in the trade here. I did not see this. I'm not always in the market, so what I'm thinking is prices to hit the 30-minute, and hopefully on the second test it activates our sell limits. So usually what I've seen is price likes to test or hit the order blocks twice before it launches down or it launches up, and that's from my experience. And I've decided in this trade that I will be attempting to place my sell limits right there, because I'm thinking price has to test again. So our aim or our target for the sell is below those lows, and those lows contain sell side liquidity. So now the picture is clear. We're in a buy. It has to drop back down to fill that huge imbalance and dip into the sell side liquidity. From there, after it hit the 1 hour breaker block, it's going to continue shooting up. So like, let me just recap this. We're in a buy and we're catching a sell. So it's sort of like we are selling to buy, and we're just capturing the sell here because we're sure price has to dip into the huge imbalance and dip into those equal lows which contain sell side liquidity. So we'll see afterwards. Now this is after some time, and you can tell that the sell limits did not get activated. So I'm not inside the sell right now. It did not manage to go back to activate our sell, but we still see that it did not dip into the imbalance. So we still have our target to reach for, so we can readjust our sells. And we can tell that the price did an immediate rebalance on the 4 hour there, and when we zoom into the 1 hour, it also did the same thing by forming another immediate rebalance. So it's an immediate rebalance inside of an immediate rebalance while it hit the 1 hour order block. So prices to launch down, but I don't think it's going to launch down from there. I don't think it's going to plunge down from there. That's because if we look on the 4 hour, we can see that there's still a rejection block that still contains liquidity. So price has to go up there and then hit it. From there it drops, and the reason it has to do that is because if we look in the 5-minute, we can tell the equal highs there. So these equal highs contain buy side liquidity, and I'm willing to bet that it has to go and drag liquidity, go up there and then drag liquidity to the imbalance down there. So that was what I was looking at. Prices to go and wipe the buy side liquidity above that high, hit the rejection block, and then continue shooting down. So that's how I readjusted my sell positions onto the 4 hour rejection block, and we will have to see what happens after. Now this is afterwards, and you can tell right now we're in some good amount of profit. We're around 120 something USD, and yeah, so we finally got activated and we're running in some good profit. And now what we see is price finally dipped into our imbalance. So it dipped into the imbalance before it activated our sell, so it might just continue launching up, and that's because price did a stop and they activated us, and now it dropped down to fill the imbalance down there. And when it filled the imbalance, of course, it was sort of breaking structure or doing another stop hunt below that low. So this is the final sort of wipe. Breaker structure stop hunt is doing below the low, or it might hit the 1 hour order block right there, and from there, yeah, it hit the 4 hour order block already. So I think it's now ready to launch or continue moving up. So this is when I decided, like, I have to close the sell, or else we're going to go into the negative or lose the profit we had covered. And I wasn't going to continue trading the VIX 250s because I found crash 300 index. Now on to crash 300 index, we can see price did a raid above that high, and after it raided that high, it met with a rejection block, and it has to respect or react off of that rejection block because it's a product of an institutional order flow where price respected that weekly order block. So there's a bearish institutional order flow at play here. Price kept on respecting interest points, like bearish interest points. So just like on the daily where price respected the daily order block, and right now it has to also respect the daily order block as well. So that daily order block is in line with the rejection. So what I'm going to be doing right now is mostly focus in this area right here. So that area is interesting because we're going to see why it's an important area. So you can see here the equal high. Some can say it's an equal high, and some can also say that there's a wipe around there, but we can certainly agree that it's a short raid above that high, like sort of price poked and then now it's launched down, so it has to be a protected high. Now price of course respected the 4-hour order block, or it did that poke above that high or short raid above that high inside a 4-hour order block, and it created a breaker block right in that area, and below the breaker block is a 4-hour order block. And of course you can also say that there's also a 4-hour order block within that zone right there. But if I sort of stretch it out like I did right here, we can see that price hit a 4-hour order block and also hit the 4-hour breaker block. Now it's easier to analyze this of course on the desktop, like on the computer, but it's not on the phone. So price did a wipe before it hit the 4-hour order block, and it did a stop hunt as well. And of course it went down to form a change of character, and after it formed the change of character, we know what price typically does. It goes up again. So yeah, it broke structure below that low, and it returned to respect the 1-hour order block. So yeah, it respected the breaker block as well. Like the 1-hour order block was in line with the breaker block, so yeah, it had to respect there as well. Now price wiped below the low, and it's going to go up to hit like, or to fill the imbalance. Let me show you. So price broke structure there, wiped. Now it has to go up into the fair value gap or the imbalance, and then it continues the downward movement like we had said. So above there is buy side liquidity, and that buy side liquidity also has a huge imbalance that price has to dip into, and of course it's going to respect the mitigation block afterwards. So we have a setup here where we can buy into the imbalance and also sell because of the general institutional order flow from the daily. So now we're going to be buying into the imbalance. So price made a wipe above that high, and it respected the 15-minute order block like we can see. And currently what it did right now is it wiped when it was inside the 15-minute order block, and it went up above to break structure. So when it returns back to an order block, and that order block, of course, when you zoom into the 5-minute chart, we can see that it's respecting the 5-minute order block right now. So I think this is a good time to enter a buy. And of course I did not want to heavily enter into the market, so I decided to just place like 2 positions and then place stop loss below there. I didn't want to go all out because it might continue shooting down. And of course my profit target was at the end there where there's the mitigation block, or yeah, after it fills the imbalance. So we will see afterwards. Now this is shortly afterwards, and you can tell price kept on launching. It did not spike a bit down, and right now it has just penetrated the imbalance. We're around 60 USD in profits at this moment, and yeah, we still had to hold. So this is after some time now. a few minutes or like an hour or 30 minutes or so, price was about to fill the whole imbalance, and also it was nearing our breaker block where we wanted to sell at. So we're around 100 USD in profit, and I think here I was satisfied with the profit. I closed here. Yeah, right now I closed right now, and the reason is what price typically does, it launches or it starts dropping before it hits the order block or breaker block or mitigation block where I wanted to sell. So I was just being careful. 100 USD in profit is still okay, so I exited right there prematurely, of course, but it was still going to activate us and we're still going to go into the sell. So yeah, this is me placing my sell limit so that when price shoots up there, we get activated into the sell, and then we sell or we continue the bearish institutional order flow as we drop with the market. So we are going to be waiting for afterwards. Now, after some time, we got activated about now, and we're still in some reds, but after some time, we got cut out on some few positions, and then it decided to drop immediately after it cut out, maybe like 2 positions. So now what price did, it did a stop hunt, and after it did a stop hunt or above that high where it grabbed liquidity, it hit the mitigation block. So for safety, to protect the account, I decided to place stop losses above that high. Yeah, right about now we were around in 200 and something. We doubled the account easily, but I wanted to protect the account, so I decided to place my stop loss right above that high in case it continues shooting up. And I did this to all the positions, so I kept on doing it, all the positions of the screen, of course. And later you can see that we got cut out. It hit the stop loss and it kept on launching up, but at least we managed to preserve the account for more trades to come. And at this time we're around 270 something USD, and we move on to VIX 25S. So currently we have 277 USD in the account, so we have to recap the trade we took to get there. So on Crest 300 we see that we perfectly closed the trade as it kept on shooting up. With VIX 250S we could have bought after we closed, but we didn't. So nevertheless, we move on to VIX 25S. On VIX 25S we start off on a huge time frame or chart, which is the monthly chart. Now on the monthly chart we see that it formed an immediate rebalance. Now the immediate rebalance here gives us a signal that market wants to continue shooting up, since it has been in a general bullish move or trend. And on the weekly we get to see that it formed an imbalance, or it made an imbalance as it shoot up, and I think it might actually dip down below that low and fill the imbalance. Now the reason why is because, of course, below the low has sell side liquidity, and below the sell side liquidity is our imbalance. And after that there is also a breaker block, the weekly order block right below. So price might dip to fill the imbalance and hit the weekly order block and then continue shooting up. Now let me highlight the high there, and that high, of course, there is a pool of liquidity above that high, which is the buy side liquidity. So price might reach for the buy side liquidity first or the sell side liquidity first, but I believe it has to shoot up to the buy side liquidity, and the reason is in the market structure. So you see those 3 equal high, equal lows. Price raided the 3 equal lows, and then it grabbed liquidity below the lows. So after it raided there, it formed the immediate rebalance, and then price moved up to form like a stop hunt, and then it hit the daily order block. So that that thing is sort of, yeah, it hit the daily order block. It's sort of like a break of structure, but I want you guys to see the institutional order flow at play here. So when it returned after it hit the daily bearish order block, it respected the bullish order block, the daily bullish order block, and to be precise, it respected the body of it. So it penetrated the body twice. It did a first initial tap and a second tap on the body, and afterwards it went up to break structure or change of character above that high. And when it returned back into the range, it filled the fair value gap. And after it filled the fair value gap, we can see from the daily that it hit the daily order block and it continued moving up, and it continued moving upwards to break structure again. Now after it broke structure, it went up to wipe above that high. So I don't want you to think like it wiped and now it's shooting down. No, it wiped above that high after it broke structure, and then now it wiped again. It didn't break structure. It grabbed liquidity below that low, hit the daily order block properly this time, like the body, and it also respected the rejection block. So now what it has to do is it has to shoot up. Right now what it's doing is rejecting off of the daily order block, and it has to shoot up to the imbalance. So this is actually the main reason why I want to buy that imbalance. I want to buy into the imbalance. That's the main reason. Maybe on the daily I said it has to continue moving up to the main buy side liquidity, but I'm positive it has to buy into the imbalance. And when you look on the 4 hour, we can see that price wiped liquidity below that low. It grabbed and then it went up to break structure above that high. Now it respected the bearish there, and then it came back down to the 1 hour order block, and now it's launching up. And right now I think you guys have seen the institutional order flow at play, like the bullish one. So you can see even the 30-minute order block is in line with the 1 hour order block I had highlighted, so they are perfectly in line. So after it respected, it went to break structure above that high. Now what's interesting above that high is after price broke the high, it went back. It did not fully go back into the range. It just like tapped the range, and then it continued moving up. Now the reason is because there was a 15-minute order block right after it broke the structure, and it went up again to break structure above the high it created, and it also came back inside to respect the 15-minute order block and continued moving up. So you can see right now that price is bullish right now. It has to just keep on shooting up. It went to break structure above that high as well, and what we expect price to do is to return, respect an order block, and then go up to wipe that high or the buy side liquidity, and also to reach into the buy side liquidity on the 4 hour chart. And of course above the buy side liquidity there is the huge imbalance on the daily. So without a doubt price has to keep on moving up. Now on the 4 hour, price has to form sort of an immediate rebalance, or it's about to form an immediate rebalance. And what is in line with the immediate rebalance is the 30-minute bullish order block that's waiting right there. So after price taps the 30-minute order block, while it forms an immediate rebalance, it has to continue shooting upwards. Now when you zoom into the 5-minute, what you see is there's that low, and that low contains sell side liquidity, of course. And what I think, or I believe price has to do, is it has to wipe there while it hit the 5-minute order block. So it sort of wiped the sell side liquidity and then continue moving up into the buy side liquidity above the main high. So right about now, this is when I decided to start placing my buy limits right below the low. I didn't decide to place at the 5-minute order block. I decided to place it right below the low. So I just thought price here was a bit sensitive. It has to just
tap or reach or make a short rate below the low and then launch up or move upwards. And yeah, I went in a bit strong, so yeah, you see afterwards.
So afterwards, you can see right now we are just getting tapped into the markets and we are a bit in the reds as of now. We're around 20 USD negative already, and it's just a small movement below our buy positions, but that will soon change because later or after some few hours, price ended up shooting upwards. And yeah, I did not have the patience or the heart to hold for a very long time. For some reason, I do not know why I couldn't hold for a long time. I think it's because we had managed to reach 600 USD. I was satisfied. I did not want to keep on holding. 40 USD to like 600 is enough. Yeah, of course it had to keep on shooting up into the big imbalance, but I could not hold. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just not patient. So I decided to close the trades at 630 USD, and of course from here on the account got hacked again. The trader decided to withdraw we decided to withdraw 600, and while he was transferring my 300, that incident happened. And yeah, it's a very frustrating situation to be in. I don't know how. I'll update you guys on if you manage to solve it, but I do not think we can do anything as of now. So thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure to like and comment what your thoughts are about the video. Yeah,